Hey nerds, welcome back to Read by a Redhead. If you're new here, I'm Martha, the redhead. And as you'll be able to tell from the title and thumbnail, today I am bringing you another look review. So today's look review means a lot to me, and I will be diving into that, but the first thing I should let you know is the book. So the book I'm going to be doing a fully spoiler-free review for today is Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzales. Now, if you're thinking, I recognise the name of that author, that's probably because you read or heard about Only Mostly Devastated, which was this author's debut YA. It was fantastic, it's pitched as like gay Grease, and I absolutely loved it when it came out. But Perfect on Paper is Sophie Gonzales' newest release, and if I time it correctly, it gets released today in the UK, so happy release day to this amazing book. Now, first off, I just want to shout out Hachette for gifting me a NetGalley proof of this months ago, because I read it in one night and I haven't stopped thinking, talking or tweeting about it since. So of course I had to sit down and do a full look review for you, and I will admit that I love this book so much that I pre-ordered the UK edition and the US one because I needed a pretty hardback, and they are slightly different covers, so it's not just me being pathetic. Also, just a little personal note that I'd really like to mention is not only do I love this book, and I will be explaining why I have such a connection to it shortly, but it was also the first time I ever got one of those reviews that the publisher does. So I published my review on Goodreads when I read it and on NetGalley, and then the publisher Hachette put my review on one of those like cards on Twitter. And my dad, because he's adorable, actually got me it printed and framed for Christmas. So I'm trying to get it without the ring light glare, but yeah, this was my Christmas present from my dad, and it has my quote on it, which says, "I don't think I have enough words to describe how perfect this book is." And this very much sums up what this video is going to be, which is me attempting to put into words how perfect this book is. But yeah, I just wanted to give my dad a little shout out for this because I almost cried when I opened it, and it means a lot to me, and I think it's a nice way of remembering how much this book means to me. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this spoiler-free look review. So I'd better start with what this book is actually about. So this book follows Darcy Phillips, and Darcy for years has been anonymously running this locker at her school, and basically people put their relationship issues into the locker with a small fee, and in return Darcy will give them advice. She will give them relationship advice. However, at the same time, Darcy isn't exactly having the best relationship herself. She is very much crushing on her best friend and hasn't really had her own romance. So at the start of the book, now this is blurb, this isn't spoilers, I promise, you meet Broham, who he is like the star swimmer at their school. He's kind of the more new kid who everyone thinks is really hot, and he basically finds out that Darcy is the owner of this locker. She's the one who's been writing this advice for all those years. And he essentially blackmails her. He says, "I need relationship advice. My girlfriend and I have broken up. I want to get back together. You help me and I won't tell anybody who you are." So that's the premise of this book. That's what this book is technically about. However, there is a reason I am sat here with my bi-rainbow earrings and the biased shirt I own on. Because to me, this book is about bisexuality. This book is about biphobia in such a wonderful way, because it really deals with internalized biphobia. And that is something that I have never really seen represented, especially not in YA. Like, especially not in YA. In YA we are getting more bi-rep, and it's usually good, but we don't see biphobia, and especially not internalized biphobia and how that affects people. So, you know, I knew that going into this book. I knew that this was a book about a bisexual main character. I knew that it featured a male-female relationship, so that it may touch on that, but I had no clue what I was getting myself in for. Now, for me, there is a reason I connect so deeply to this book, and I'm going to talk about the biphobia last, just because I want to go quite in depth with it, and I thought I'd start with the lighter stuff. So one of the reasons I think that I really personally connected with Darcy is her life. Now, no, I did not run an anonymous locker at school. No, I wasn't giving really good relationship advice, but I had split parents. And this book shows what it's like moving between those parents, having a room at both houses, and, you know, being like, whose house am I at this weekend? Is it dad's? Is it mum's? It very much portrays that. And also the school that Darcy goes to, and part of the reason that she needs to make money from this locker, is a private school. But she is not a private school kid in the way that you'd think. She is on a scholarship, and oh boy, oh boy, did that hit home. Now, I've spoken about this on my channel before, but I was a scholarship kid at a private school for secondary, all the way through to sixth form. And, you know, I did love my school. I did. And I still, looking back, think it was the right decision, especially for me at the time. But there are issues that come with being the scholarship kid. And there was a moment in the book in particular where there's a discussion about uniform. And Darcy talks about how uniform is, in one hand, a great equalizer, and in the other hand, the best way of showing the differences between these kids. Because, of course, the rich kids can afford new uniform every year. They can replace it. If they slightly grow out of something, they just get a new one. And so their uniform fits. Their uniform is new. Their uniform is perfect for them. Darcy's uniform was bought too big. She had it oversized because it was cheaper to buy it big and grow into it over the years. Darcy's uniform is hand-me-downs. And that I did not expect going into this book, and I thought it was handled so perfectly. Because, you know, being a scholarship kid is a very particular experience. And although you do see it fairly often in like young adult books and stuff, I have never seen it fully explored in this way and so honestly talked about. And the fact that that wasn't even the point of this book, but it was still done to a deep level, I thought was fantastic. And aside from that, those personal representations of split parents and scholarship kid, there is a lot of rep in this book. Now, yes, the main rep is bisexual. That's Darcy. Darcy is bi. However, you have a transgender, fairly main character. Like, they're technically a side character, but they are very big and quite important. You have lesbian side characters. You've got like an openly fat person, and I know it may seem a bit odd to name that under representation, but it's not something you see very often in YA. And usually if the character is fat, it's either the point of the story or they're a joke. And it wasn't like that in this book. It was just part of who that character was. And also one of the parts of this book is that at Darcy's school, they have a Q&Q club. And the Q&Q stands for the Queer and Questioning Club, which I thought was such an amazing name for a club like this, that they included questioning. They said to people like, come along, you're welcome. But of course, because there is this Q&Q club that is part of the book, you get a lot of other representation through that. So there are like non-binary and gay characters as well. And I would just say that, you know, if you want a book that you're going to read and see the queerness of real life reflected in, this is the book for you. It really does show that not only are there all these varieties of queer people, but also that it's very natural for those queer people to find each other and use each other as support. Right, I think I've got the colour of my eyes as close to the peach of both covers-ish as I can. So I'm going to nip off and do eyeliner and stuff, and then I have a plan for my face that I've never done before, so it could go terribly wrong. but that's when I'm going to be discussing the biphobia, so back in a sec. Okay, I'm back, and I think I'm ready to start talking about this biphobia and the bisexual representation in general. I say I think because even just going through my notes on this book and writing up what I wanted to talk about put me in tears multiple times. So I've picked quite a dramatic type of makeup, hoping that that's going to distract me from crying. So let's see. Also, I did get the idea for this like makeup hack thing from TikTok. So I will link the creator in the description because I can't remember their name. But essentially you put masking tape on your face to create a shape and then put eyeshadow around it. And when he did it, it looked really cute. So I thought I would do little bi hearts on my face because I thought that would be cute, but we'll see. I also have not practiced this at all. So if it goes horribly wrong, it's my own fault. Okay? Yeah. So yeah, from very early on in this book, it is, you know, said that Darcy is bisexual. And, you know, it's something I knew going into the book that this had a bi main character. But the thing that really got it for me was Darcy's internal struggles with being a bi girl who's very open about being queer and being bi, and starting to have feelings for a boy. Because I have been that girl more times than I can count, and it's a real struggle because biphobia is a massive issue, and it really is. And even within the queer community itself, biphobia is a problem. You know, and a lot of people don't realise they are thinking or saying biphobic things, but they really are, and they're really harmful. And I think there is a reason that a lot of bi people don't come out, because if you fall in love with somebody of a different gender to you, it's a lot easier just to not come out, to not tell people that you're bi or that you're queer. It's a lot easier for them just to assume you're straight. And honestly, the representation of that in this book was fantastic. You could see Darcy dealing with that herself first. You could see Darcy going, okay, I've had feelings for a girl for ages. I know I'm bi, I'm openly bi. Oh shit, I'm having feelings for a boy. And honestly, watching her struggle with that and watching her really put her guard up because this is a straight boy. And it was really hard to read at times, I have to admit, because it was like being in my own head. It was like, honestly, reading moments of my life on page. And then there is a particular moment in this book, and again, like, I'm really trying not to spoil, but Darcy ends up discussing this at the Q&Q club, at the Queer and Questioning club. And she basically says to the Q&Q, oh no, the masking tape's stuck. Okay, so that heart is just going to be funny shaped because I do not have the patience to cut out more masking tape hearts. Masking tape is really hard to cut. But yeah, there is a particular moment in the book, and actually I'm just going to get my copy because the first thing I did when my physical copy arrived was, yes, I dog-eared this copy because I've got my pretty one, but was reread this scene. And she basically sits the Q&Q club down and is like, I'm here to discuss biphobia. And she basically says to them, like, what would you do if I turned up to like a queer ball, you know, Q&Q event celebration with a boyfriend? What would you think? And she very much challenges them, but then is also very open about the fact that it's actually those thoughts inside her own head that have been holding her back for years. And that, you know, homophobia, transphobia, queerphobia in general is a problem, but biphobia isn't talked about. And that was very much the kind of essence of this moment, was we never discuss this. We never talk about what it feels like to be a queer girl and to know you're queer, but to also know that if you walk into a room holding a boy's hand, everyone assumes you're straight. And whether those people know you're queer or not, it's terrifying. It's a terrifying feeling to walk in and know people are going to assume the wrong things about you. And I absolutely loved it, and I ended up in absolute tears at this particular scene because their reaction, and again, I'm not spoiling, but their reaction was the reaction I've always wanted. It was somebody to turn around to Darcy and say, but you're still queer. Who cares? You still love a boy, but you're still bi. And, you know, you're still you, no matter who you love. And if who you are is a queer bi woman, then you're a queer bi woman. And seeing that on page, seeing it written that it's okay, and also having it addressed that it's also normal to have these fears. Because I don't have any bi friends, really. I've got queer friends, but none of them are really bi, and I've never really been able to discuss that. I've never really been able to sit somebody down and go, this is why I'm afraid of having a boyfriend. And I have my own issues separate from that I am not going into on the internet, but I know what that feels like. I remember going to Pride with a boyfriend and all the guys assuming I was straight and all the girls assuming I was straight. In fact, everybody assumed I was straight because I walked in holding a boy's hand. And it also means that as a bi person who is in a relationship with somebody of a gender different to your own, you have to come out over and over and over again. And that's not to say that all queer people don't have to come out multiple times in their lives, because you don't just come out once. That isn't possible. But you come out as gay and then you walk into a room holding hands with a boy. Nobody questions it. Everyone knows that you are queer. They probably will assume you're gay. You are a lesbian. You come out, you walk into a room holding a girl's hand, and they know you're queer, and they assume probably that you're a lesbian. You're bi, and say you're me, say you're a bi girl, you walk into a room holding a girl's hand, and they still assume you're a lesbian, so you have to turn around and go, no, I'm bi. You walk into a room holding a boy's hand, and they assume you're straight. And honestly, I could never thank Sophie Gonzales enough for this book and for what it did for letting me accept myself in a way. Like, I've known I'm bi since I was a small kid. I have been out to my family and to the world since I was like 17, 18. You know, I'm happy in my own sexuality and I'm comfortable, you know, sitting here with bi-ass earrings that my friend got me and this shirt and talking about being a queer woman. But internally, I still deal with a lot of biphobia. And every time I get a crush on somebody, those thoughts sink in. And those thoughts make me question whether what I feel for this person is worth going through that again. And yeah, I'm probably going to stop talking now because I'm going to cry. And I've already got one video crying on this channel and I refuse to have another one right now. Also, these hearts worked a lot better than I was expecting. Like, these look so cute. I love them. So I can now take this off because, ow, headache. And honestly, I think this might be my favourite look review look yet. Like, let me know what you think because I'm hella proud of this. I wish I'd done the heart smaller, but cutting the masking tape was very, very difficult. So yeah, that is my full look review for Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzales. I love this book. I really do. And I think it's important, but also still fun. Like, that's something I haven't really openly said, is that this is a really fun rom-com read. Like, yeah, you can see things coming, as you often can in romance books, but it's fun, it's adorable. The romance had me swooning. Like, there was a particular moment, and all I can say is it's in the car park. And there's this moment in the car park where I literally squealed. And I squealed so loudly I woke my cat up. And it's adorable. And yes, this book touches on some really deep, meaningful topics, but it's also light, fluffy fun. And I think, you know, if you enjoyed Only Mostly Devastated by this author, you'll love this one. If you like kind of fun queer rep for YA, you'll enjoy it. But also for, well, I would say for any age, I'd say for anyone like 14, 15 upwards who is bi, or if you've got like a very close friend or family member who's bisexual, please pick this book up just for that. Like, even if the rest of it doesn't sound like something that you would connect to, and I think you're wrong and you'd enjoy it anyway, but that particular scene at the Q&Q club will never leave my head, ever. And I really do think that this is the best representation of bisexuality I have ever read. It put into words things I've struggled to put into words over the years, and I cannot fault it. I really can't fault it. And as you can tell, I'm struggling to get my words out, and my quote was accurate. I don't have enough words to explain how perfect this book is, especially not within this YouTube video, which is probably already going to be long because I ramble. But yeah, Perfect on Paper, it's perfect. So I'm gonna end it here. If you have made it to this point in the video, please do like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and really help me out. Please comment down below if you have read this book. If you've read it, please do let me know what you think down in the comments, but do keep it spoiler free because I want this whole video to be spoiler free and to get people who may not know about this book excited and hopefully pick it up and love it as much as I do. So that's everything, and I will see you very, very soon for some more bookish content. Bye!